All right, we are live and welcome to On the Verge. I am IIyse Craft and I am so happy to be here today. I know that this is not a normal time that I do my show, but this is not a normal week. And I am super excited to be here with one of my co-authors. We are like buzzing with excitement this week because we are launching our book. And I want to welcome my dear, lovely co-author. Laura is here today. And in a second, we're going to get a message that, yes, we are officially live. So in case you were wondering if you were live or alive, we're live. So welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for coming on today and joining me as we are launching our book and diving into like, why the heck did we say that we would do this in the first place?
It's a little like having a baby. Like, it sounds like a great idea, and then you get into it and you're like, oh, this pregnancy thing, right?
Oh, why did we say yes to this, actually? So thank you so much for saying yes. I'm going to do a soft intro, and then I'm going to let you kind of like really dive in and do your full intro. And just kind of like a little housekeeping. So we're live streaming on LinkedIn. We're also live streaming into Facebook, but when we live stream from StreamYard, which is awesome, we actually can't see the comments on Facebook. So what we'll do is afterwards. So if you're watching us from Facebook right now, thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate your support and thank you so much. We will definitely come and comment and give you love and so much appreciation and all of that jazz. So thank you so much. If you watch this on the replay, hashtag redesign, hashtag women power, and hashtag anything that just motivates you today to give us a hashtag, some love and like. We're just totally appreciative. So we're going to jump in today, and I really want my audience to get to know you because they probably don't know you. So let's do that. Okay. So thank you so much for being here. I loved our conversation in the green room and just understanding like what you do and why you do it. And firstly, like why you said yes to this book. And then we're going to kind of go forward, and then we're going to kind of go backwards, like what you do and why you do and what you do in the world. But why you said yes to this book in the first place. There are a lot of people that want to write a book or write a chapter, and like, why did you say yes in the first place?
I said yes because I am a storyteller. That's part of my identity. That's who I am, and I find myself telling these yarns. I feel them coming out of my mouth at times, and I realize that's the truth of who I am. And I've lived a lot of things now. I'm 53 in a couple of weeks. And so I don't just have book knowledge and I don't just have experience. I have things that I want to share with the world. I have wisdom to share, and that I hope that it empowers other women to come along and not only maybe change their lives, do things differently, but more importantly, to see that they can also raise their voice in whatever methodology they choose. It doesn't have to be on a stage. It doesn't have to be a book. It might just be in their community. But I want them to know that anything is possible for them. So that's why I said yes. We've got to keep teaching by showing the way.
I love the way that was like, what a great clip right there. Right? Like, that was just perfect. So you are a spiritual life coach. You also co-founded a nonprofit, which I think is freaking credible. I cannot believe that you're 53. Like people say to me, you're 58. And I'm like, yeah, I am. But like now I've just met somebody who's like, you're what? Like, so I just love meeting a woman where I go, huh? So amazing. Like but it actually doesn't even surprise me after talking to you in the green room, because I really believe that like your inner world reflects your outer world. And after speaking to you in the green room, I'm like, yeah, of course. Of course, you're ageless and timeless because of your inner, of what I got a glimpse into your inner world. It makes sense to me that your outer world would be ageless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a lot of people that'll ask me about, what do you eat or what is your skincare regimen? And I'll tell them, but I'll tell them, I think the biggest part of looking a certain way is like what you said. It's the vibrancy that's coming from your inner life. I mean, really, my secret ingredient for life is joy. Finding joy in the littlest of things and bringing it to life every day. I've started some really fun, silly rituals lately because I brought a lot of play into my world, and that may be why I'm glowing today. It is my birthday month, so I get pretty excited about birthday month. March being the month that things are born and birthed and rebirth, and what a perfect time for our book to be born in the spring, when things in the world are getting redefined, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So your chapter, which I loved, I guess not necessarily started, but you went down a path of it being about boundaries, but you actually discovered something so much greater in a way. So talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So it felt like a familiar road that I was going to go down. And I thought, as soon as Allison Ramsey, who is our fearless project leader on this book, asked me, a title clicked in my head because I had had some lessons, a repeated lesson throughout 2019. And I was like, oh, my chapter is going to be called All the Bullies I've Loved Before. Because I had been doing a lot of work around boundaries. And it seemed like every month was a new test. And I thought, I'm just going to sit down and write out some of these little short stories and see if there's something here for a chapter. And one story became two, became three, became four. I ended up writing about 7 short stories. And I realized, kind of looking back over my shoulder, my proverbial shoulder into my past, I recognized there were a lot more. There were so many people in my life that had what I term bullies. But in my chapter, I really reframe that because the lessons that I got from writing were massive. Of course, I got lessons as I went through it, as we all do. But as I reflected on it, I began to recognize it wasn't that they were all bad guys. They were out to get me. They were a bunch of douchebags or anything. It was more about that I was this open-hearted person running around in the world looking for connection, and I had no boundaries. And as a result, people were just people. And I kept getting these lessons about, if you don't want bugs in your house, you should close your windows. If you don't want burglars in your house, you should lock your doors. And over, I kept seeing that. I could see the pattern very clearly once I'd written all of those. And honestly, in the processing after I wrote the chapter, it took me quite a bit of time to look back and see that younger version of myself and see in so many places where either she was not supported or she didn't have the tools to be able to set boundaries. And it turned into not only lessons, but really forgiveness. Forgiving all of those people for the roles that they played in my life, as well as going back and forgiving myself. My 17, 18, 19-year-old self, she was just doing her best. She was
Mm.
hot as express. She made many poor life choices that put her in precarious predicaments, but she was not wrong or bad. She was not a slut. There's no need to feel any shame around that. I was doing my very best. And the fact that I survived some of these things and then was able to learn from them. And then, like I said, to go through the forgiveness part was definitely very, very cathartic. So writing the chapter, I know it's for y'all. I know it's for the other women out there who are going to read it, and certainly for the group experience. But definitely, I feel like I received a gift in the writing itself.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. How incredible to think like, wow, I'm going to do this and it's going to lead me down this path. And then you're like, oh, oh, there's something
Yeah,
else here, right?
exactly. As I was saying in the green room, I was like, oh, I've been in this boxing ring before. I'll just pop in and I'll just do a couple rounds and I'll be fine. And then I'm over there on the ropes. I'll beat it and bruise. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not what I came here for. I came here for a workout, not a beating. And so, a lot of people use the phrase triggered. Some people use it very callously, kind of throw it around. It's part of our vernacular now. But there's truth in that. We were those phrase, we really fully immerse ourselves in that moment. And that's when you're writing out that story, you are back in there. You're in that state again. And your body is going back through that again. So you are feeling those feelings. You're thinking those thoughts. There is something physiological that's happening to you. So I was self-triggering, for lack of a better phrase, unintentionally self-triggering, and I didn't recognize that until the completion of the chapter writing, and I was just exhausted. I was just so exhausted, and I thought, what have I done? What did I put myself through this for?
Yeah, no, so I can definitely relate to that. I talk a lot about being self-inspired, right? Like a lot of times we're looking outside of ourselves for inspiration. And I feel, part of the experience I had in writing this book was about commitment. And, to be an entrepreneur, it takes a lot of commitment, right? And, you know, we had deadlines and like I was missing the deadline. I'm like, yeah, Allison, I need a little bit more time. And like, okay, I need a little bit more extra, more extra more. How's about a little extra more? And, so like being committed. And then, I really had to like be self-inspired. Like it's like looking outside for more inspiration. No, sometimes you gotta go inside for the inspiration. And so these, like you said, like the triggering, right? So like that's where you hear a lot about triggering and people are triggering. And, and so I kind of had the flip side of like, where was my inspiration going to come from? The level of commitment and being committed to like hopefully devoted to myself and to my desires and to my dream and to what it is that I'm doing, my level of commitment, and to be self-inspired. And those were some of the things that really my takeaways. Those were two really, really big takeaways in this process.
I think a lot of people may have a Hollywood-inspired image of a writer, like that we do go off to a little cabin and there's a desk and we're overlooking a pond and, just the thoughts are flowing and flowing. And I certainly have those moments. I'm sure you did too. But there is writing and developing something for a book. It is a practice. And what I would always tell myself is just show up at the page. Just show up at the page, and sometimes you just sit there and nothing comes out, or you're writing your grocery list. And so I definitely resonate with what you're saying about just the process of getting a book out in and of itself is a discipline. It teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you a lot about who you are as you are pulling out your insides to show the world. So yes, there is a huge piece of learning that devotion, devoting yourself to it. And again, finding that deeper why, like you're kind of pulled forward by, this is who I'm becoming. This is what I want for myself. Like, this is why I'm doing this. I'm not just doing it so I can get my story done and written or the deadline, right? We're actually doing it for a bigger reason. And that's the thing that does self-inspire us and pulls us forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you mentioned that you have another book in the works.
Yes, I didn't want to tell anybody and show them the sonogram yet, but I'm pregnant with another book. Got another little book baby on its way. Shh. We're in the first 12 weeks, so I don't want to say anything yet until I'm showing. still that's what it feels like to me. I'm not a biological mom. I'm a happy non-breeder, and I am the grateful partner of a man that has children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. So I have an extended family, but I've not been through that biological process. I've only been through it psychologically with different projects. So this next book that is going to start being written is actually the 4 years after the first time I started writing. So I started writing on my birthday 4 years ago. I was like, yes, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a chapter. I'm going to write something. And so I'm coming back to that same date, and I will begin writing a book about my husband and I. And he's considerably older than I am, and we have two similar worldviews for some things, but very different worldviews because of our experience. He was a fighter pilot, and we have amazing conversations. He has amazing stories. So it started out as my intention to document all of that for all of the generations that are coming up behind him. And I started interviewing him and recording audio, trying to figure out some way to capture all this for the great grandkids. And then I was like, but wait a minute, I can't tell his story without, I'm part of that story. So I decided to write a book about both of us, and kind of our take on the world, kind of going back and forth between our different views.
So is it a love story?
The love story will definitely be in there. As you can see by my hearts, love is one of my things to talk about, all different types of love. So I definitely will weave our very unique love story into it, because as my husband describes love, it's pretty hilarious. And he almost talks about it like it's a superhero villain. He's a big strapping guy. He looks like a Viking. And
Ooh.
first asked him, I said, tell me about love, John Wall. And he said, love, you just can't beat it. I was like, that sounds horrible. But we've talked.
I love that he's John Wall. Like he's not
John Wall. He is 100% John Wall. So yeah, he is absolutely a Viking. We've checked his, 23andMe, and he definitely, that's where the stock he comes from. But yeah, to hear his take on how he fell in love with me. He fell in love with a person for the first time in his whole life at age 57. He'd never, ever been in love before. And I actually had to walk him through it. And so I was like, he's like, I don't know what this thing is I have with you. And I said, so when you're going to see me, like for lunch, I said, does your heart start beating really fast and you start kind of feeling jittery? And he's like, yeah. And I said, and then when you're at lunch with me, I said, is your heart just like pounding, but yet you feel kind of calm? And then like your head feels huge, like you could take on the world. And he's like, yeah, yeah. And I said, and then when we separate for lunch and like you're driving off, I said, does it feel like there's a cloud over your head? And like, it feels like, you're kind of sad, or like your chest kind of tightens up. And he goes, exactly. He's like, what is this? And I said, you're in love with me. He's like, this is horrible, because he can't control it. That's the thing. He doesn't like things that he can't master.
Wow. And he had never experienced that. Like,
yeah, not with a partner. He'd experienced other types of love, like paternal love for his children, but he'd never experienced romantic type love.
Wow, I have the chills. I love it. I love it. So earlier I asked you a question about your nonprofit and what you did, which I'd love for you to share, which we're segueing, but we're going to come back.
Sure. Okay. So I am a co-founder of a nonprofit called Hearts of Healing Center. I co-founded this with Jan Kirpak and Barbara Smith, two of my very dear friends here in San Angelo, Texas. Jan had a vision. I tend to have visions too, but she had a vision of a wellness center here in San Angelo. And it's a tiny little West Texas town. It's in the middle of the confluence of three rivers. It has its own magic and majesty. It's a lot like my hometown, Austin, back in the day when there weren't millions of people clogging it up. happily. I love Boston still. And our vision was to open a wellness center with a collection of holistic healers, and all of us donating some of our time. And then if people felt like they wanted to donate, that was fine. But we wanted to sow seeds into our community. Now, COVID came along and changed all of that, changed a lot of things for all of us. So we actually moved our nonprofit and our activities more online, and we're able to do our healing work online. So we currently have 4 healing guides, and we offer different modalities that are for different types of healing, including aroma freedom, which is what I practice, and it is for emotional release. It's for reprogramming limiting beliefs at the subconscious level. It's using psychotherapy, essential oils, so aromatherapy, as well as the magic of neuroscience. So we're quite literally remodeling your brain a little bit with some really amazing smelling things. And then Jan practices crystal resonance therapy. Barbara practices quantum healing hypnosis technique. And our 4th practitioner, Tama, she's a volunteer, so she's not one of the volunteers, but she's volunteered to do the work on behalf of the organization. She practices energy medicine. And
Wow.
our mission is really we're all coming from a place of abundance. We all have amazing, supportive, divine masculine, hero type husbands that are absolutely supportive of whatever we want to do. And so we decided that we did not want to charge money for our services. We wanted to send this out into the world. And our mission really is to bring more light, love, healing, and hope to people that need it. Because sometimes you're in between jobs and you really need a counselor. You really need some place that you can get a little respite. And we want to be that sanctuary for people to help them make that transition. And again, not have the traditional burden of, oh, I can't afford that. So again, if they're interested and their heart leads them to donate, we receive. And if not, we continue to provide. And
Yeah.
we've been kind of, I would say, we've been alive, or we've founded it about 2 years ago. And I would hazard to guess between the 4 of us, I would think we've probably taken care of about 500 people so far in terms of providing services for them.
Wow, that's incredible. How incredible. So when we were talking in the green room, and I'm very money motivated, very much when I'm growing my business, and whenever I get ping and I have like something's coming into PayPal, right? I see that as I'm helping somebody. You know, my business is growing and I'm helping, someone's coming in and I'm going to help them create abundance in their life. So I'm so excited when somebody's winning in my world. It's like it's growing, it's growing, it's growing, it's expanding. And so, you know, so I said, so when you were telling me what you did, and there was a piece of that you didn't explain the whole, you know, you've expanded, right? So,
Yeah.
so tell me, so how do you make money? And you said, so then you explained about your husband, and I was like, wow.
I receive. That's how I'm taken care of, is I receive. So I've spent a good portion of my early years working for other people. That clearly wasn't my path. I've spent a lot of time being an entrepreneur in different roles. One of them nearly broke me, drained my adrenal glands, and I definitely enjoy being an entrepreneur. I love creating things and all of that, but the transactional part of it, it just didn't feel right to me. And again, I definitely believe that you can be a spiritual person, provide spiritual services, and charge money. I absolutely believe that that is a valid service, and that there is an energy exchange that takes place. Money to me is not bad. It's just another form of energy, just like light or water. However, at this time in my life, along with my co-founders, we all came to the realization that we're very well cared for. We're very well supported by these amazing men. And I think of my husband like a king, and that I live in a kingdom, a queendom. And I live in a place of abundance every single day. And so I don't really have to do anything other than be truly myself. And as a result, I can give so very freely. And as I was sharing with you before, it's kind of crazy to me how things just keep showing up. Like I was gifted a place to go and write that was like an Airbnb that was like $1,000. I was, and again, I was trying to talk to the person like, I'll pay you. And they're like, no, no, no. I have gifts that show up in the mail to me all the time. Sometimes they're not even with a note. So things just show up. I would say that we're both very blessed, very lucky, but I do think there is something to the abundance mindset and law of attraction. And so it's a switch for sure, at least. It was
Yeah.
very, very hard for me initially to just receive.
Receive.
And it
Yes.
tapped into that lack of worth. Like, well, if I'm not out in the world and charging money, then what I'm doing is not valuable, or I'm not valuable. And both of those things, let me tell you, people, those are bullshit.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
valuable regardless, and the work you're doing is valuable regardless of what you get paid. That
Right.
just is like a footnote. And I love people who like to make money, and I love to talk about money. I don't think of it as being a taboo subject any more than I do sex or book writing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love this whole part of our conversation, because when we're not in a place to receive, whether it's receive love from somebody, whether it's receive, the abundance of your husband's gift of, loving you and taking care of you and providing, no, 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 it's okay, no, 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 I feel bad, right, whatever it is, whether it's receiving clients in your practice, whether it's whatever it is, if there's a feeling of feeling bad, feeling guilty, feeling you're too much, or you're whatever that is, same with me, same with anybody that's listening to this, when we attach feelings and make it mean something about us and our human feeling being, then we're blocking abundance. We're blocking what's available for us, whatever it is that we desire, whatever it is that we want to feel, and whatever it is that we want to experience. The minute that we start to make it mean something about us in some negative sort of way,
Right.
we've now blocked it. There's something here. There's something that we can't pick up and hold, but that definitely has power, and we blocked it. And by being open, that receiving, it's such a powerful energy to receive, I mean,
And this
and
is how we're designed, though, as women. We are receivers. We are really good at receiving. I mean, even our bodies, right? We are the vessel that receives the seed to make babies. We are the ones that hold the babies. We are the ones that hold the community. This is part of that divine feminine energy. We're very good at receiving when we tap into it. But it's super challenging, especially like you said, if I call them the top three, the bad guys of, not bad guys, they're teachers of emotion, which is shame, blame, and guilt. So yeah, as soon as you're like, well, I really shouldn't charge 150, I can hear it in their voice. There's shame around it, or they're blaming themselves, or they're feeling guilty around it. And definitely, as soon as you do that, then you're blocking the ability to receive that money. You're going to notice clients dropping off because you've broadcast that with your energy, with your emotion to the universe. I really shouldn't get $150 an hour. I'm really not worth that. The work's not good enough. People won't come to me. Watch, they won't come to you. But if you flip it around and you're like, I'm ready to receive, I'm allowed to receive, I believe, this is my birthright, then it does. It starts to, sometimes it's a trickle. I'll admit, sometimes it's a little trickle, but it does start to flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's energy is interesting to work with, because it's invisible. It's not like, okay, I'm going to move this from here to here, but it's so powerful and potent at the same time. So, yeah, it's fascinating. This is I've just so enjoyed to hear about your, what you learned and what you discovered, and what lies ahead, and the work that you're doing. And it's so fantastic. And to have touched, when we say I've worked with 500 people, there's hundreds and 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 hundreds more, because
Absolutely.
those people have families,
Mhm.
and they, when you work with one person and they have, a child or a spouse, they go to work, and so on and so on and so on. So those 500, you can double and triple and triple and triple and triple. The ripple effect of that is just incredible. And what a gift. What an absolute incredible, beautiful gift that you're doing in this world. Mission is accomplished.
Thank you.
Accomplishing your mission is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you so much. Offer you a gift, IIyse. I would love for you to come on my podcast sometime.
I'd
I
love to.
I have a brand new podcast that's launching tomorrow. I didn't mean for them to be back to back, or not tomorrow, Thursday. It's back to back with our book. And my podcast is called The Guru Is You. And it's conversations around healing. So I would love to interview you for that.
I would love to. I will accept that, Rose.
You're receiving. Oh, this is great. Perfect example.
Yes, I will receive that invitation. Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. I would love to. Yes, I would love to. So how do people find you in the world? How and where and how and where and when and how and all the things.
So I have done a bit of a social media detox in the last year, thanks to a great documentary on Netflix, but I still am around. So we do have a website, heartsofhealingcenter.org. That's the best place to read about all the different healing guides. If there is something on there that's appealing to you, you can just hit contact, and I'm going to be the person that would receive the email, and I'll be able to help you find the right healing guide, or we'll be able to connect you with them for their services. You can also directly contact me there if there's something else that is of interest to you. If you are looking for me to come and speak to your people or be interviewed, I'm available for those things. The other place that I love to be, because it's a little quiet and beautiful, is Instagram. So I'm at Laura Wall. That's LauraWall.TX for Texas. That's on Instagram. And then most recently, I have dove into a new world called Clubhouse, which is an audio only app. It's really fantastic for speakers. So a lot of times I am there. I hold different events there. So think of a virtual conference center, and I have a room, and I have people that I speak with and panels, kind of like live podcasting. And sometimes I do card readings there. So I have a card deck that I created myself called the Daily Heart Affirmation Deck, and I will do card readings and do some intuitive guidance for people. So
Nice.
same handle, at laurawall.tx, Instagram, same thing, and then heartsofhealingcenter.org, the website.
Okay. Awesome. So I will revise the show notes, and actually, you know what we'll do is are you on LinkedIn, or are you not on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn also.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that you and I are connected on LinkedIn. And then once we are connected on LinkedIn, what we'll do is we'll make sure on LinkedIn, on the platform, they don't love a lot of links in the show notes. But what we'll do is we'll make sure that we put all of your links and all of the ways that people can get a hold of you in the comments. So maybe you can just drop into the comments and put all of your jazz in the comments, and then people can just go nuts and connect with you and all of that. So great. And then we can do the same thing on Facebook. They just don't love it in the body, but we can do it in the comments. How's that?
Right. Absolutely. That sounds great. I'll be glad to display that information there. People want to reach out.
Great. And then I also love, I'm enjoying having conversations on Clubhouse. So maybe we can hang out together on Clubhouse and like.
What? Do I hear a co-moderation brewing? Huh.
I think so. I think we have some things to do in the future together.
That's how this always happens. So look at that. I received a new friend, a new co-moderator, a new co-creator. So I am so blessed just by being here today.
Awesome. So great. And tomorrow's going to be so much fun for us. We have all these festivities happening. So if you if you hear this today and you haven't picked up our book, we would love your support, because part of when you write a book, you really want to have like the sales of the book like go crazy on the day that you launch it, which is tomorrow. So, pick up the book. I think it's like, what is it, $2.99 on Kindle and $9.99 is the paperback. So like, go nuts and buy it, like pick up the book, support women that are like awesome women. We're like really awesome women. So like, you can buy it tomorrow. We'll be dropping the link in like a million different places.
Everywhere. You're not going to miss it unless you're going.
So wait until tomorrow when you see it, buy it, like pick up 2 or 3, 5 copies, go nuts. You can give it to clients as friends, give it to a girlfriend as a friend. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are, which you probably are if you follow us, if you have a friend or you have clients, buy a couple copies, give them to some friends. It would be a really cool thing to do to support us, which is super awesome. And watch, like it'll help us to become bestsellers, which is like best-selling authors, which is really awesome. And you could buy the Kindle version or buy the actual soft cover, the paperback, which is really cool. So if you've been following either one of us or any of us, because there's a bunch of us.
Of us.
Yeah, there's a whole gang of us, girl gang.
That's right.
This would be a really nice time to show your support if you engage in our free content. A lot of us, we post every single day. We write blogs, we go live, we do free trainings, we do master classes. This would be a really lovely time to show your support. When people do something like this, like they write a book and then they want to hit that top the charts, this is a really beautiful time to go, you know what? I'm going to show my support. I'm going to buy a book or 2 or 1.
$2.99, IIyse. Come on. That's a cup of coffee. Like they're buying us a cup of coffee, but they're getting an amazing book. And what I tell people is, buy the Kindle. That's the one that really helps push our numbers up, the algorithms, all that. But if you really want to do something that is even more powerful and more impactful, go ahead and also get the paperback, buy both of them. And then after reading the paperback, pass it on to another person, to possibly a teenage woman, because they need to see what this generation is doing. They are mavericks in their own right. They are out there RVing and living mobile lifestyles and nomadic and all of that. But for them to hear the voices of women before them, I think would be very inspiring. And so buy the book and then pass it on.
Yeah. I got the chills. You gave me the chills.
Me too.
So I didn't know that bit about that. It's actually the Kindle is like is a really good one for people.
That's the one that Amazon's looking at.
Okay. All right, good.
And again, when we're trying to be bestsellers, part of what's happening is, those numbers are pushing it up kind of in the blogosphere, the webosphere. So it's helping more people see it, and it's helping it get into more hands. And again, it's helping it impact more lives. And that's really, I think, the desire of all of the authors is not just a title, not just ching, which we do enjoy the part, right? But it's also the impact that we can make with these stories and other people's lives.
Absolutely. And I love the idea of, the teenage, the 20-something, the generations before us that are, I'll tell you, my daughter's 28 years old, and I think she's just astounded. She's like, "You're doing what? Like, what are you doing?" It's just, it's amazing. When I was young, I thought of a 50-something-year-old woman as like on the way down.
Absolutely. The crown. That's right. She had a long nose with a wart and a hair growing out of it. And, not sexy, not doing anything with her life, maybe baking cookies.
It was just like you were getting quieter. You weren't like living your best life, making huge plans. This is something. This is really something. And, to share it and to pass it on and to spread the word that, like, something, one of the rooms that I co-host has been "You're not too old and it's never too late."
Wow.
And, and I think that it's just really important, like go for it, go for whatever it is that you truly want. Live your life, live every day of your life. And yeah, so I love that. Yes, it's fun. Listen, we're all going to do great and be great without being bestsellers. Yes, it would be really fun. But the more people that read it, the more people that, for somebody to just go, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Just imagine.
Well, I just go back to my 15 and 16-year-old self. I didn't have an older sister. I didn't have an aunt that I was close to at that time. My mother was very involved in the care of my older sister. I didn't have female guidance. I didn't have women around me that said, girl, you can do whatever the hell you want. I did not have those voices of encouragement. And I'm not saying I had a terrible life, but I'm just thinking, wow, if I'd had someone in my corner cheering me on, or if I read a story about, man, this woman was down and out and she built her empire on her own, on a platform, on a phone, traveling the world, I would be like, okay, well, if she could do it, I've got to figure out I could do it, and that's part of, I used to have a lot of trouble with the word inspiration because it felt very narcissistic. Oh, I want to inspire people. I was like, oh, that sounds like it's about you, feeling good about you, which maybe it was, and that's okay. But really, the word inspiring comes from the Latin word being as in spirit, as in it is coming from a higher source. It is a higher energy that's coming through you. And when that energy comes through you, like you said, it is a ripple effect. It touches people. That's what inspiring is. That's bringing people along for the ride. That's bringing them into your abundance. That's letting them receive some of what you have and sharing it. That's reaching back and helping the woman behind you that's struggling and down for the day and saying, yes, sis, you can. Come on with me. Come get in my car. I'm going to drive you there.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. I end a lot of things with let's go. A lot of my let's go.
Are you an Aries?
No, I'm not actually. I'm not. But yeah, it takes a lot. There's a lot of, listen, there's a lot of dark nights, there's a lot of dark mornings. It's not all and that's why I mentioned earlier about self-inspired, like because it does. I mean, when I think about my rituals, right, about writing, praying, chanting, breathing, connecting, crying, sweating, walking, sometimes on hands and knees, like when you have big dreams, they don't make sense. Nothing about any of this makes any sense. This is nonsensical.
Yeah.
And it's something that is way, way beyond. And so it takes connection to something much greater and much deeper, greater and deeper, greater and deeper, greater and deeper. And it is staying connected in such a deep, committed way. And the devotion will take you to where you want to go. Amen,
Yes.
sister.
And churches are complete.
And with that, okay, so thank you so much for being here. I found a
Thank
sister
you. I know.
in the pages of our books. We find common sisterhood, and we know we find a knowing, of self.
Mm-hmm.
You see yourself in other people,
Absolutely. And that's why we should inspire. That's why we're natural inspiration. We are naturally inspired people. Just like you said, one person reads a book that changes that person. It changes the way they think. And then that reverb, that vibration around them changes. It changes many lives. So yeah, we naturally inspire. That's who we are as humans with a spirit inside of us.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, my love. We're gonna be seeing a lot of each other tomorrow. So I'm gonna have on a
Yes,
beautiful,
that's true.
I'm gonna put on a pretty dress or a pretty white, I think a pretty white blouse
So
tomorrow
I
is.
want to know, I have a question for you. Okay, tomorrow you mentioned rituals. So tomorrow so viewers, we've got three, count them, three. We have three different events where we're promoting our book launch, which is a nice sprint, if you will. And so we're going to be live on Facebook, we're going to be live on Instagram, and we're going to be live on Clubhouse. So I'm sure IIyse will connect you with all the places we're going to be if you want to come and listen to all the authors. So my question for you, IIyse, is we're about to go into the game, right? We're about to like cheer and get excited. What is your pre-game ritual for tomorrow? What are you going to do to get all revved up?
So, well, tonight, my pre-game ritual begins tonight.
Ooh, okay.
Yep. So tonight, I will take a bath, and I will do Kundalini yoga. I will do tonight. And that will really be very grounding and really, I'll be very high vibe. I'll take a bath. I'll do my hair. So my hair will be all did because I got a lot of hair. So I have to do all that tonight. And I'll go to bed early. I'll go to bed on the early side. I'll listen to an incredible, it's called Heal the Leader. So I'll listen to a beautiful meditation tonight. I'll go to bed early. Early in the morning, I do a visualization. So I'll do a visualization in the morning. And then early in the morning, I'll go out to the ocean. And then I'll be ready to roll.
All right, let's just pause here for a moment. Let's all be with her there at the ocean. Oh, that's so peaceful. So that feels very grounding and soothing and yet re-energizing.
Yeah. Yeah. Be with Mama Earth.
That's right.
What about you? What will you do?
So tonight I will be doing some rituals of a fun type. So I have a belly dance class. So for those of you that are familiar with the chakras in yoga, this is a hip chakra activation type class. So we'll be shaking what my mama gave me. And when I do that, that usually spurs a lot of creative energy and just a lot of playfulness and fun. Following that, I'll be on Clubhouse reading love poems along with a couple of my besties. And we're going to read all different types of love poems. We'll take people from the audience and we'll just discuss them. There's no, this is how you should have written it. It's none of that. It's like looking at art together and saying, how did that resonate? What did you find? What was the nuance? How did that grab you? And so I will go to bed probably pretty blissed out after listening to a great meditation from Nikki Agrawal's sister is Radha Agrawal. They're both serial entrepreneurs, powerhouse women, twins, millennials, burners, all the cool stuff. They're the cool kids. And so she's got a platform called Dose and Daybreaker, and she's got amazing sound bath healers, and I'll listen to a great meditation as I fall asleep while using my Healy, a vibrational tool that reconstitutes my body all through magic, through magic and wizardry. And then tomorrow morning, I have huge amount of white space before 3 o'clock. So I will do all the things that bring me home to myself. So I will spend time in my temple. I will listen to my guides. I'll do some journaling. I will inhale some oils. I will spend some time outside by my daily pond, and there's a hyacinth that's blooming, so I'll go and smell that and spend some time with my husband. We have a morning ritual, and then I'll just allow things to kind of float. And then right before game time, I will do like what you said. I'm going to gussy up and get some eyelashes on, and I've got a couple of high-powered oils that just like rev up my system, and I'll probably do a little dance beforehand just to pump up my energy.
Yep. Awesome.
Just a list of 27 or 28 things.
So you know what I love? I love that both of us, our game day ritual begins the day before, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So, something.
It's a nice on-ramp, isn't it, for takeoff?
Yeah. So one of the things that's really changed for me, and I've been kind of fascinated by this, is that, when people talk about human design and like I'm a manifesting generator, but I actually question because I look at business models, I've been in the business world for over 30 years, that my human design has changed. And it's very much changed. So I question human design because whereas when I was in the business world, I was very much go, 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 go.
Yeah.
Now I create a lot of space in my day. There's a lot of space and a lot of time. So that's not what a manifesting generator does, right? Manny Gen is like constantly like ideas and creating more ideas, and that's not what I've evolved and I've grown from that space. And so I'm much more like, if you looked at, I'm much more of a projector, and I, much less and tighter and quieter and much more intentional. And so it's very interesting. So I very hold my energy much differently, and everything's with much more intention. And
Yes.
So
I think that is the blessing of being past the mother phase. And so again, moving into crone, which is roughly around the time that you go through perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. So a lot of women are used to being in masculine energy of like that go, 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 do, do, do. And when we move into that later phase of life, that's when we start to realize the receivership, the ability to receive. And again, holding that energy and knowing how to allocate it. And then again, knowing how to work with our intuition, knowing how to work with the cycles that we ourselves go through. I'm very seasonal. So January, you're not going to catch me doing any speaking gigs. I'm not going to be rolling out any courses. I am going to be hibernating and listening and writing. And then February, I might peek my head out like, Poxitani Phil, and then I'm going to go back for a while. And then come March, I'm like, oh, things are changing. Okay, let's go. And same thing with the moon. I have found that, we're all tied to the moon. And especially women are much more sensitive to it. We cycle with the moon. So same thing. I look at the moon cycles, and ever since I've switched my workflow around those, so looking at whatever phase of the moon we're in and kind of tying my activity to that, it's been amazing, the productivity, because there's like a week that is like super intense, and it feels like an easy sprint, and I can get so much done, and then I do it all, and then I know I'm allowed to rest. And then I rest and I receive, and I allow things to regenerate. And then I come along to new moon, and I'm like, ooh, okay, now it's time to make ideas. Let's think and let's set some intentions. And then, okay, and then we're planting little seeds. It's gotten a lot easier. And I hope that's the way it's supposed to be as we age. I hope it gets easier as we get older because we get wiser, right?
Yeah.
That you're very aware of your own cycles and abilities and how to work with your own energy and your own preferences.
Yeah, just a deep knowing and wisdom of self. Self, just a coming home, a homecoming.
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite lovely.
Quite lovely.
Quite lovely, I might say. So I look forward to seeing your beautiful self tomorrow.
Sounds great. I will be there for all the things, and we will be doing talking, and we will be asking for support. So get your $2.99 ready for tomorrow to grab that Kindle book.
Fabulous. All right, love. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to our journey forward together in this beautiful life, and have a beautiful rest of the day.
Thank you, IIyse.
All right, sweetie. Talk to you soon. Bye.